I think it's probably more ignorant than being maligned. But I think what he's trying to do is what a real estate person does, which is what Witkoff is. And I think they got a piece of paper with Dmitriev, his Russian counterpart there, and they put everything on this sheet of paper, the whole laundry list of grievances and demands by Russia. They put a little bit in there for Ukraine, and they got it all on one sheet of paper, like the Gaza agreement. I think they're using the Gaza agreement as a prototype.
Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Ukraine has a decision to make between maintaining a reliable partner or its dignity, as the country is told to accept a 28-point US peace plan by next Thursday. After phone calls with Vice President JD Vance and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, the Ukrainian president said he'll work with the US and Europe to forge a path to peace. But the terms of the current plan include drastically reducing Ukraine's army, it agreeing not to join NATO, giving up all of the Donbass, including land that Russia does not currently hold. Vladimir Putin has been giving a press conference where he said the pause in diplomacy after the Alaska summit was due to a Ukrainian rejection of a deal.
Полагаю, что именно поэтому появилась и его новая редакция, по сути, модернизированного плана уже из 28 пунктов.
I suppose that's exactly why there is a new edition made up of 28 points. We have this text. We've got them via our existing channels with the American administration. I suppose that could be the new basis for a peaceful resolution of the conflict. But the subject matter has not been discussed with us. And I can suppose the reason is the same. The American invitation could not get the agreement of the Ukrainian side. Ukraine is against it. We see that Ukraine and its European allies still live under an illusion and a dream of inflicting a strategic defeat upon Russia on the battlefield.
Союзники до сих пор находятся в иллюзиях и мечтают нанести России стратегическое поражение на поле боя.
That was Vladimir Putin speaking at a press conference earlier. Well, before we came on air, I spoke to Igor Novikov, who used to advise Volodymyr Zelensky on US relations.
Do we want to win this war and regain all of our territory and defeat Russia? Yes, we do. Do we have the weapons for it? No, we don't. So if it's the prospect of let's keep the current front line going at a cost of thousands of Ukrainian lives a month, nothing else changes. You know, what's the upside for that? So the answer would be thanks, but no thanks.
Well, let's speak now to Jim Townsend, who's former Assistant Secretary for Nato and European Affairs and joins us on the line. Good evening, Jim.
Good evening.
This deadline that the US is issuing to Ukraine of Thursday, is that remotely fair? Is any of this peace plan remotely fair to Ukraine?
Well, the whole basket is just unfair and is speeding along for some reason. Thursday was chosen because here in the U.S. it's Thanksgiving, and Trump likes to hook some of his events onto calendar dates, and so I think that's what he was shooting for. But he also said that if things are going well, the deadline can be extended. So I hope that's what we're going to see. Is maybe things will go pseudo well by Thanksgiving here, and then they can extend it because they need time.
I mean, as things stand at the moment, the 20-point version published involves shrinking the Ukrainian army, handing over Donetsk, Luhansk, and including territory that Russia hasn't conquered, to Russia. I mean, these are demands that are just never going to be acceptable to Ukraine. How are you going to get that message across to Donald Trump, Zelensky, next week?
Well, I think Donald Trump knows. I think everyone knows that this is something that's not acceptable to Zelensky and to the Ukrainian people. I think the feeling is they're going to twist his arm and say, if you don't make a concession that you find as humiliating, but if you don't make this, you're going to lose the United States. We're going to walk. We're going to take our intel sharing and that with us, and then you'll have to face Putin alone here. So I think that's what they're going to do.
But do you think that arm twisting is going to involve Ukraine making a concession that doesn't just freeze the lines, the territory as it is at the moment, but involves Ukraine giving up territory to Russia that it hasn't won?
Well, that's exactly the great point, and I think that's why they need more time. This document is a first draft, and it's poorly done. It's not a professional written by diplomats that's got tight language and that you know exactly what it's saying. This is something that's a first draft and is going to have to be negotiated as well. And the point that you just made is what they're going to have to negotiate is it really land that's still occupied by Ukraine? Or is it land that's occupied by Russia? Is that what's really on the table? What are we really talking about here? There's other parts too that talk about the two uh, bits of land further south from the Donbas, where they were talking about freezing the line, and there's other vague things about real estate that they really have to negotiate over.
Do you think Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's envoy on all of this, has fallen under Putin's charm, as our interviewee, former advisor to Zelensky, Igor Novikov, said earlier? What is your take on Steve Witkoff?
Well, you know, he maybe I don't know if I don't know. That's
I
a
mean, is he
very
just
good
ignorant, or
question.
is it more malign than that?
Well, I think it's probably more ignorant than being maligned. But I think what he's trying to do is what a real estate person does, which is what Witkoff is. And I think they got a piece of paper with Dmitriev, his Russian counterpart there, and they put everything on this sheet of paper, the whole laundry list of grievances and demands by Russia. They put a little bit in there for Ukraine, and they got it all on one sheet of paper, like the Gaza agreement. I think they're using the Gaza agreement as a prototype.
Yeah, but
And they did that.
Ukraine is not Hamas in this scenario, and that's the problem,
Oh,
isn't
they're
it?
not.
That
Yeah.
Russia has got all this laundry list, as you put it, in this document. Ukraine hasn't been anywhere near it.
Well, that's right. And then they were presented with a laundry list that was mainly Russian. And so I'm told you've got till Thursday to agree to this. So it is. So your point on Witkoff, I think maybe that works in real estate, but it doesn't work in this kind of diplomacy. You can have a laundry list, but you've got to compile it from both sides, and then you sit down and you whittle it away based on negotiations. And they haven't done that. You don't put the laundry list, you don't put the laundry on the list and then shove it under the nose of the person in front of you and say, you got to agree to it.
Least of all, to continue your metaphor, air your dirty laundry in public. But we'll leave that there for now. But just one other thought. Do you think that this all goes back to Donald Trump being sort of rather taken with Vladimir Putin, or worse, that he's some kind of unofficial asset? And how should the UK and Europe get the message through to Donald Trump?
Well, I don't think he's an asset. Kind of. I don't think he's necessarily fallen under the sway of Putin. Yeah, I fall under anyone's sway except himself, I think. I think he likes being among strong men, and so there's an attraction there. But I think part of this, though, is he is anxious to kind of do this or not. To either let's sit down and let's get this done. Let's put everything on the table and make a deal. And if we can't make the deal, let's get out of this. I I think that might be where he is more than
Right.
anything.
And what would you say? Donald Trump is always talking about how much he respects Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister. Is there anything, your message to Keir Starmer, really, about something he could say to Donald Trump to just put Ukraine's side of this and get things to a better place?
If I were talking to your prime minister, I would say, talk to Donald Trump about extending the deadline. Let us here in Europe work with Zelensky and this draft. We're going to propose a change in Zelensky. We understand where you're coming from, Donald, but let's sit down with Zelensky. Let's try to get this in a proper place, and then have Zelensky submit this after Thanksgiving, and you all can take a look at the draft after we've done our bit. Give us a little bit of time to work this.
Just finally, the brutal truth is that Ukraine can't win this war, and Zelensky is in a very weak position, isn't he, because of the corruption scandal that's engulfed his government. He is going to need to make some really significant concessions at the end of the day, isn't he?
Well, I'm afraid you're right. As much as I hate to say it, He has run out of time in some other. I mean, the scandal that you point out is probably the crisis of the moment. But he still has problems with a manpower shortage and other things that are on the battlefield. They're doing a great job in defense. They're holding back and reclaiming some land even that they've previously lost to Russia. But I don't know how long they're going to be able to do this. So this might be a chance to try to bring this to a close, but he's got to be given a chance to produce a document that makes some sense to him.
Yeah. Jim Townsend, thank you very much for joining us, former Assistant Secretary for NATO and European Affairs there.